wrong is wrong and what's right is right. I believe that a hard day's work is worth a hard day's pay. I believe in the Lord above. We should walk his walk and I'll share his love instead of marching to the beat of the devil's parade. I will not be broken. I won't stand around and trust some bleeding heart. It's time we all stood up, be outspoken. Bring it on, I don't care who you are. I won't be broken.
Well, here's another Thursday night. Well, it's not even night anymore with daylight savings time. It's not dark.
It's like afternoon out there.
It is. It's like a midday, but it is considered the PM time, and we are back here on the Real Deal broadcast here every Thursday at 6 p.m. daylight savings time. I'm your host, Big Wheels Bo Carver, along with the other host, Speed Racer, and the man, the myth, the legend, and the I don't know, man. There's just so much I could say about him. The whole show could be just about how the kudos of this awesome Terry, the Patriot at Large Anderson.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, guys. Welcome, man. So listen, tonight, man, this is going to be great. We're going to have just a jam session. We're going to talk about just a whole plethora, I love that word, plethora, of things that are going on in the country today.
A veritable cornucopia, you might
cornucopia, yeah, you might even call it that, right? So there's so much stuff going on. Hey, first thing, let's talk about what you did last weekend. Rob, let's talk about the rally and everything that you experienced last week. That's be a great start.
Yeah, so our buddy Ajua, who I happened to meet for the first time the same time I met Terry.
Yes.
She put together, along with a couple of other groups, like one of the first, if not one of the first, Trump rallies of the election season, right? And like I've told several people that went with us, people that were there, it's like a snowflake at the top of the mountain. By the time we get full blown 700 vehicles circling 635 or wherever we get to it, down the road, this was the start, right? So. And MAGA DTI, MAGA Drag the Interstate. We started in Box Springs, which is southeast Dallas County, and we, with our whatever contingent we had, we rallied from there to Arlington to see if we could pick up any flag raisers, and then from there on to downtown Fort Worth. Sometime during the broadcast, I can pull up, maybe a video or at least some pictures to show off. But had several so we met at the JFK Memorial in down by the convention center, which would be kind of the south end of downtown, and we marched behind. And I do got to show this one picture. It was a Trump themed mid-70s Cadillac limousine that kind of led the march down. Was it Cal? I don't know. It must have been Houston Street. Anyway, one of the main streets to go north-south in Houston. We marched all the way to the courthouse, and that's where they had speakers. Beth Van Dyke spoke. Ajua spoke. And there were several other Congress people and state representatives that were there. Then they all did a pretty good job. It was a little warm, but we had a good time. Our MAGA friends. Auburn and Larry McMillan were there.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Which everybody knows Auburn and Larry they had dragged all the way from Austin to be there. So we had a good time seeing them, and other people saw old friends and made some new ones. So,
how many people were there? It looked like there was a couple hundred at least.
There was about that. Yeah, I would say between 100. That's what I'm saying. It's a snowflake at the top of the hill by the time we get into the early fall. Because, in 2020, we didn't start dragging until, mine and Trixie's first drag was September 5th.
Well, the last time I was in Fort Worth on a flag run was when we chased the Bidens from Fort Worth to Dallas. Remember that day? Whoo! That was awesome.
Oh yeah. There was some contact that was a full contact sport.
Right. That was fun.
One of the Biden affiliates that was in a car and there's some great video of this out there, that is trying to harass, I don't know, say people like Terry that were flying flags chasing the bus. Anyway, one of them like cut in front of one of the Patriot vehicles and knocked somebody's side mirror off or something. Those little liberal vehicles though couldn't kind of like hold a candle to the truck that they
Well, especially when they were throwing, beer bottles and stuff at us as we were driving, so that was never good. So, but yeah, the flag runs are.
Yeah, that's always kind of a risk, right? We try our best to avoid, for lack of a better term, sketchy neighborhoods like downtown anywhere.
Right.
But Saturday, there was a few of us that ended up probably breaking the MAGA DTI record for the longest drag through the worst neighborhood.
This last Saturday.
Yeah. We took a little detour and ended up going down. If anybody is familiar with East Berry Street in Fort Worth,
Oh yeah, 35 and Berry, yeah,
North Harlem or the Fifth Ward in Houston. It was just okay. Where's the highway?
Well, that's great, and we have seen more and more, and I've been posting more and more of them on Patriots at Large of just the different flag events that are coming up, and their flag runs, their flag waves, stationary flag waves. There's the boat rallies that are coming up too. There's one coming up in Possum Kingdom here pretty soon, and it's great to see that again. I think everybody kind of pulled their horns in a little bit when they after January 6th and everybody, we can't, because people are going to, call us, insurrectionists or call us, domestic terrorists or whatever. But you know what? We cannot stop being able to express our First Amendment, right? And our Fourth Amendment. And that's what that's all about, is, we want to be able to publicly assemble, show our support for our country. And we've got Dan Morrissey on here. That's Approximate Court. What does he say? Best question. What does he say? Best question to ask a liberal male. Does your Prius match your Champ? Well, hello, Dan. Thanks for that. That was awesome. So, he got a silent pause right there. So, man, we're just glad to have you guys all here tonight. And, we are going to just try to talk about a bunch of different things tonight. I sent out a bunch of different topics, that we were going to talk about. But, I mean, what's going on with you guys? Anything else you want to talk about before we jump into some of these things?
One thing I'd like to say is, because we've been kind of hit and miss, and for me, I've been real busy and everything, but congratulations to Andy Hopper.
Hell yes.
For winning 64 up there, and boy, was that a huge win for that district to get Stuckey out of there, the rhino that's been in there too long.
Yes,
and I don't know, Speed Racer, you had somebody that you were hoping that was going to run off to win. Did you know about what happened there?
Oh, well,
one of the house
I've been talking about Dade Phelan, who squeaked it out. The speaker. We were hoping he was off down in the. I think his district is like the Katy area down in Houston, and he squeaked it out. Money talks, and there's way too many rhinos in the Texas Republican politics.
Yes, we got rid of one of them, and that was Lynn Stuckey. So that was a good move.
Well, that's good, and I think. Oh God, I can't remember her name. Up in near Sherman, Grayson County. Shelley Luther.
Yeah, she won. That was awesome too. Yeah,
that was awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
She was in Laredo too. Same time as
yes, she was. Yep.
So congratulations to those two, because no, Shelley's a non-rhino person, and I believe Andy's the same way. And it's good to see those two get in there. Make some good positive changes for Texas.
Yeah, and we need more of that, you guys.
Yeah, I give Shelley Luther part of the credit for having long hair, because that was when she got arrested. Was right about the time that I said I stopped going to the barber. Period.
Well, that's because all the barbershops were locked down. That's right. So
yeah, so
2020, early 2020, or late 2019.
I think I had a haircut that February of 2020. I think.
Okay. Because after that, I think that's when the shutdown started. Right in that area.
Trying to support the economy by buying more, hair products for all that hair. Right?
Yeah. So I think by the time we hit our first drag that September, I think it was about this length. So,
As long as you're not getting them from China.
It doesn't matter what your hair looks like as long as you still have hair at our age, right? That's what I hear. Let's see. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Spiky,
I still
whatever.
got some too, believe it or not.
I had a
I know
friend
you
from
do.
high school ask me why I grew my hair long. I said, because I can.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Hey, what do you
Whatever
guys think
reason.
about this new selective service bill that's been passed? So the selective service, and this is actually what it is, from my understanding, is that it's not, the selective service. It's always been there that they've got to enroll, but I think a lot of people haven't. So now what they've done is they've made it automatic. So they're going into kids' backgrounds, they're finding out their social security numbers or whatever, and they're automatically enlisting them for the selective service. And so, so is do you guys think that's something?
So
that
what
should
is that
be?
selective? Explain what that selective service actually means.
Draft.
Well, the selective service just means that you are enlisting for the draft, basically. So you
it's
are.
the draft.
It is the draft. So once you
Well, I
put your
didn't know
name
we
in
had
there-
a draft anymore.
well,
No, they stopped it in what, 76, but
Mhm.
it's
Right.
always been on the books.
Okay, so it's not ever gone away. They just stopped
They
reenacting
just
it.
they just stopped doing it.
Right.
And
Okay.
because it was still on the books, I'm going to pull a Terry and start crying here for a second. And you guys know I lost my dad last August.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yep.
And so he would call me every year on my birthday and tell me the same story about the first time he saw me, the first time he held me, all of that, except for one time, and it was the year I turned 26.
Right.
And he started talking about the fact that because he was
You
was
were no
Vietnam.
longer eligible.
All the guys that he went to high school with and went to Vietnam didn't come back. And that was like, he graduated high school in 59. And so by the time he was getting out of college, all these guys were going off to Vietnam and not coming back.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things he was always deathly afraid of his sons, losing one of his sons. And it was that was all he could talk about on my 26th birthday, is how I was no longer
18 to 26, you're eligible. So you're eligible for the draft,
Yeah.
and you are supposed to sign up for that when you're 18 years old. Register, right? And so if there ever was a draft again, they'd have everybody's information, is basically what it is. So it's one thing to sign up; it's another thing to be signed up. I guess that's the rub.
Yeah,
I have.
I remember going to when I was 18, going to the post office
Yep.
and filling out that card and
too.
turning it
Yep.
in.
Yep. I tried to
a lot.
enlist, and they said they wouldn't take me back in 84. They said I had flat feet now, and I've talked to people since then. They're like, man, they do not hold back for flat feet anymore. So I guess they were full up then, didn't need any more or what. But it's great to want to serve your country, and to enlist or to sign up for the selective service. It's another thing to be demanded. It's another. I don't know. It just seems to me to be another.
Yeah, I'm sure if you asked,
Well, with the way
World
this
War II
country's
vets.
going and what's happening with our leadership, I would take my son to Canada before I'd let him fight for this country right now. I'm just
Yeah.
being
Right.
honest.
Well, either that or take them to
You
Florida,
can-
where they're all the subs are already off the coast of Florida right now, right? So-
Yeah, exactly. And my son does a lot of studying, and he actually thinks that they're going to be putting nukes in Cuba like they did in the 60s.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
He really feels like that's what they're doing. So,
Well,
And we have such
Um,
a weak president right now that he doesn't even. Oh my God, we could go off onto this. This is the next topic I was wanted to talk to you guys about. I saw Jean Perret, or whatever her name is, the press secretary for Biden. They're saying that these videos about him, wobbling around and all this stuff, that they're deep fake, that this isn't something that's really happening. And I'm like, come on, you guys. I mean,
okay, so he was frozen in time, and the ex-president had to escort him off the
yeah.
stage.
Oh
So,
Yeah,
which one is the fake? Him
Right, or-
being frozen, or Obama leading him off the stage?
no. Right.
yeah,
one's
or
fake?
I would love to see the footage of him not pooping in his pants in
Oh, yeah.
France.
Or
Yeah.
not falling up the
It rhymes.
stairs, 45 different times.
So that brings up a question I'd like to ask you guys. So, what is going to happen during these debates? How is Trump going to handle this situation? Because in reality, that kind of got him in trouble last time, because everybody thought he was too, mean or
Harsh.
nasty, whatever you want to call it. And I don't even know what his approach would be to this guy that's a bum, gone basically.
Yeah, how
Well,
do you debate? How do you debate somebody in a vegetative state?
Somebody posted on Facebook that his plan is to just let Biden talk for the 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's all he has to do is just shut
Don't
up,
even
just
say
sit there and be
nothing. Just let him
quiet.
speak for 60 minutes.
So I looked at the rules like yesterday of the debate, and they all favor Biden. It's
Oh,
at
sure they do.
CNN. They're going to ask him, pre-approved questions.
They can mute
There's
They can mute the mic. There's
They can mute the mic when their time is up.
mhm.
But the one thing that kind of they're going to have to jack him up on so much drugs or whatever they put him on, because he's not allowed note cards and there's no teleprompter.
What do you think? I mean, what do you think they have him on? Is it B2 complex, B12 complex? Or you think it's I don't even know, man, because he's so frail. And and I'm not talking ill of elderly people, because I mean, it is where you get to be at, but this is the leader of the free world,
Yeah, it's a
supposedly, or
difference
used to be.
between, my grandmother and the leader of the free world. I
Right.
mean, it's a big, big, big difference, and I believe that that's the reason why that Russia and even China is getting a little irritated at us, and because of
Mhm.
the support that we're doing for Taiwan and what we're doing for Ukraine,
Yep.
and they're not afraid of us. They're going to do what they want to because our leadership is going to just let them.
Yeah, it is
So
so sad, and it is. And I was talking to a friend today, and she had spent some time over in Europe, a few years ago, and they were laughing, back then about how mainstream media, rules our country, and it really isn't, what it's supposed to be. I said, man, can you imagine how they feel now, or how they think of us now? 10 years later, it's just crazy.
Well, when is the first debate, by the way?
It's
Anybody know?
like in a week?
Yeah, it's coming up
It
quick.
was supposed to be in June, so and we're running out of June. So I'm guessing sometime next week is what I'm guessing.
And there's only going to be 2, correct?
Yeah, I think the other one is in September. So I mean, it
One
doesn't
of
matter.
those One
It
of
doesn't
those
matter.
candidates
what-
may not even be here by then.
Well, that'd be a worst case scenario, because, well, I mean, if you got Kamala and whoever else, but
Well, everybody's talking about Big Mike might end up being in that position. I don't know how that works. I mean, just all right. Let me ask y'all this question, because I know Steve
never
Racer,
do it.
you're okay. Let me just say this: if something happened to Biden between now and the election, what would they do?
My guess is
What's
they would
the
go with
protocol?
Well, it'd be like Weekend at Bernie's, I think, and they would just kind of carry him wherever they wanted him.
Well, they're doing that now.
No.
So what's going to be the difference then?
Right.
I mean,
I've seen the meme with him, and you got like Pelosi on one side and Chuck Schumer on the other side,
Yeah.
just like from the movie.
Weekend at Biden's, right? So
Yeah, no. So they would have to pull it now. So they have until sometime in the middle of July, I think, to actually you have to pick a nominee by a certain date in order to qualify to be on the ballot for all the states. Right. So, and they're doing their convention late this year. So like there's a couple of states that they've got to tell, oh, it's going to be Biden, like in the middle of July sometime, so that he can get on. I think it was Indiana or someplace where they are going to have to announce to that one state first, so they can get them on the ballot in time. But they have until the convention technically to pick whoever they want. I mean, he's the presumptive nominee because he's the only one been running, even though some states, he gets a good running against nobody else. It's like,
who would y'all think? Who would you think they would throw in?
My guess would be Gavin Newsom.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Big Mike won't do it because then she'd have to take a physical.
Well, they know how to manipulate all that, so that ain't going to be a big problem. You know that. They manipulate everything else.
Big
well,
Mike.
You're probably, maybe.
So, a lot of people are sitting there going, well, who's Big Mike? And I'm surprised because I put a lot of that stuff on my page. I do. I mean, because I feel like it's important to show people the truth when we've got these transgender people that are coming in pretending to be something other than they're not, and they're actually playing this greatest hoax on the American public that's ever been played on, I mean, and we could talk about conspiracy theories. I read something earlier today. It said, if you're not a conspiracy theorist by now, you're not paying attention. That's from Tucker Carlson,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, we know that this stuff is going on, and we're sitting here watching it in real time, and we're shaking our head, and we're like, how can people even buy this? And I talk to some people sometimes, and they're like, no way is Big Mike a dude. No, just do a little research. I've got tons of pictures I can share with you if you want, but well, it's AI generated. No, this is before AI even became a thing. This is from 2006. This is from before Mike was Michelle. Even we've got pictures of Mike. What is his actual name? Mike.
Well, they claim a lot of those are like Photoshop, because I've seen like
right.
So that so I would challenge anybody to go to YouTube, and I think the key where you could Joan Rivers.
Yes. That's
that's a great clip right there.
Yeah.
She said it all truthfully, didn't she?
When she, how long after that she died?
Yeah, very quickly.
Soon.
Within the last 3 months, wasn't it?
It was 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, there you go.
She went to her plastic surgeon, which I'm sure she had a standing appointment to, for some kind of outpatient procedure, and she bled out.
Crazy. Yeah, we think that doesn't happen, and of course, then people think, oh, that's another conspiracy theory. Well, you know what? The numbers add up. I don't know. There's so much stuff that has happened in the last 8 years that I have a hard time putting anything off as that. You've got to be able to take a look at it, critically, rationally, and think about these things.
Right. You were talking about, you're if you're not a conspiracy theory, whatever the Tucker Carlson quote was. Right.
You're not paying attention.
Yeah. I saw a while back, so this maybe a year or two, Adam Carolla was on Howie Mandel's podcast, who's a huge leftist, but they were talking about conspiracy theories. And what Adam Carolla said, I thought was pretty interesting. He said, you could graph it, that the more conspiracy theory tendency you are is in direct correlation with your lack of trust in government.
Well, there you go. So that makes me the biggest one out there then.
Right. So if you think about it, it's absolutely true. So you can take, there's obviously the JFK assassination is actually where the term conspiracy theory came from.
Right.
It was created by the CIA to make it a pejorative term to make anybody that had some kind of idea something might be going goofy that they're a loony bin. Right. That was the express purpose from the part of MK Ultra, brainwashing stuff, that they made that so you wouldn't question the Warren report. We now know more here, even recently, that the magic bullet was not magic. That there's a lot of things that, so you go from there all the way to the fake moon landing, the even flat Earth,
fluoride in our water. There's a new
believe in flat Earth. If you look, they'll ask you so of the pictures of the globe from space that you see, is there anything out there that shows you that without it being property of the U.S. government, as far as any of the proof? The fake moon landing is another one. That was all.
We're going down some rabbit holes. You know what?
9/11. We're just wrapping up. 9/11. Right?
What about Vegas? What about the Vegas shooting?
Oh my gosh.
Vegas too.
That was a big one.
So like 9/11. Show me some source of information other than the government that told us that planes flew into the Pentagon, or a plane flew, or into the Twin Towers.
Right. Well,
so
it's kind of interesting that y'all bring that up about conspiracy, because my son is the biggest conspiracy person I've ever met in my life. He's 20 years old and doesn't trust anything our government says or does now. And he is, I think, right on target with a lot of stuff. He's very bright. You don't know him, but Terry does.
Right. There's a lot of them out there. If you, because some of the people that when we've had just for fun conversations, hypothetical conversations about any of this stuff, and you talk to somebody who could, the dissonance in their brain just couldn't handle the idea that our government killed, what was it, 2,500 people in the trade towers. Well,
Yep.
okay. Well, how many people were on the Titanic?
Yep.
You know that every powerful person in the country that was against creating the Federal Reserve Bank and the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution, which brought us the federal income tax,
happened to be on
they
that.
all just happened to
It
be
just
on the
happened to
Titanic.
be there, right?
All of the opposition just went down to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
All right, guys, I'm going to pull us out of this rabbit hole just for a minute.
All right.
We can jump back in a minute, all right?
I appreciate
So,
the airtime.
I
because
think we're living in the rabbit hole. What are you
we
talking
are,
about?
I agree. But here's the deal. So we were talking about the selective service bill that's been passed, right? But now, if you take this and segue into that, Biden is now opposing a $24 billion pay rate for the military, right? He's opposing that, right? Doesn't want to give a raise to the military when he spent 7 times that much on the war in Ukraine so far. And this is from Jamie, freedom fighter, posted that. I read that earlier, and I'm like, yep, that's where we're at.
How much are they paying the illegal aliens just to live?
Well, okay, then we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about our U.S. veterans that are living on the street and hand them out because they can't get.
At least along with the illegal aliens in Los Angeles, I think they're even the homeless people, which includes some of our vets, are getting a $600,000 apartment.
Unbelievable.
It was the article just came up on Breitbart. They have these beautiful, high end.
And in the meantime, my kids and your kids can't afford to buy a house. They can't even pay their grocery bill. They're having to stay at home, live at home because the cost of living has gotten so high. And even with the pay increases that they've, $8 an hour to work at McDonald's and all this stuff, it still doesn't cover what inflation has done to us over the last 3 years.
Inflation.
Yeah. I mean, some of the things that we buy, read a report on it. Some of the things that we buy are 100% higher than they were. Not 50%, 100% higher than they were 3 years ago. And they can go, oh yeah, but not gas. It's only up 33%. Or okay, well look at, bread or eggs or whatever. I mean, even eggs, $7.50 for a dozen eggs. What is that? How does that happen?
Well, we know how it happens. And my question is to you is if somehow, some way, whatever way they deem to make it happen, that he gets reelected, where are we going to go and what are we going to do?
Oh my gosh. That is the billion-dollar question. That's the $75 billion question. How much more money can our country print, before we are utterly and truly bankrupt, if we're not already?
Well, and I'm worried about just the whole safety of our country with what's going on with internationally. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, at what point do, this, we just say, we've become a third world country and what are we going to do about it? Because I think we're about one step away from that.
Well, we're talking about, and this will get you banned off Facebook right here, saying we're probably going to, if I say it, let's see.
Well, we're pretty banned already the way things have been
we are
going.
being pretty well shadowed. Hey, by the way, just a little housekeeping. If you guys get a chance to share this out. They have StreamYard Facebook has stopped StreamYard from being able to let us stream to our group, to Patriots at Large. So I'm having to share it to Patriots.
Can you change that and take it out of a private group? Can you go in there and change that?
No, I couldn't turn it to a public group because a lot of people signed up and they already signed up for a private group. Okay. But anyways, and so, but we are definitely being shadow banned. And I hate to say that because some people use that as an excuse. Yeah, I'm just shadow banned. That's why I'm not getting any. It truly is, especially on the live videos.
Well, I know. Well, first of all, I know we are because there was a big difference when we first started than what we're getting now. I mean, it wasn't but about 2 months ago at this point in time, we would have 25, 30 viewers.
Yep. Well, we got to keep on plugging away. And, again, you can always follow us on YouTube there. And you can, of course, we've got 3 or 4 pages going on Facebook. But, we do need to branch out to some of these other social media platforms. But we're working on that, guys. It takes a lot of time and effort to get all that going. I wanted to talk about, because here's the thing, all right, we talked about the military, we've talked about this, about all our money going there, about them not giving our veterans help, but yet they're helping out these illegal aliens. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you first before that. How do we win this election? It's got to be too big to rig, right? And that's what'll get you banned right there. Saying those words, too big to rig, man. If you post that, and so we probably get shadow banned a little bit more.
And what
But,
what does it mean by being too big? Like too many people voting for
where they
Trump
can't,
where they cannot
They're
do
gonna
it?
cheat. They're gonna cheat.
They're
We know
gonna
they
cheat.
cheated.
I love that.
gonna
That
cheat.
should be the new hashtag. They're gonna cheat.
They're
Hashtag
gonna
they're
do
gonna
it.
cheat.
There's no doubt.
They always have, just never as big as they did in 2020.
Right.
Right.
But and I understand that. So we're gonna have to get like 80% of the vote in order to show that we got 51% of the vote.
That's exactly what it is. You got to be too big to rig. That's
Yeah,
how
but,
big
you
you
know,
got to be.
with the Dominion machines, they just type in the number of votes that they need.
Okay, so
Now,
that was
what's gonna
another
happen-
topic.
what happens is there are going to be more people voting than there are people that are in a particular district or have
Well,
even registered.
So the Blaze had an article on that today, the election and how to prevent voter fraud. And so so number one, we don't do mail-in ballots, right? Don't do it, period, right? The only reason they did that
But are they going to stop it? No.
Well, they
Paper,
have
paper
it
ballots.
needs to be paper ballots. It needs to be, and I'm a firm believer that should be a national holiday is voting day. Everybody gets to take off work. You have to go in. You got to, hell, we got June 19th, as a national holiday. And hey, by the way, how are you guys enjoying Pride Month? Is this good for you? Are you guys having a good Pride Month?
I didn't even know what was going on. That's how proud I am of it.
Pride Month. Yeah, it's
I saw a strange
LGBTQ.
flag in the pet food store the other day, and then it dawned on me that's what it was. It was
Right.
because they've added to the rainbow. It's not just the rainbow anymore. They've got that triangle thing in there. I think I got put in Facebook jail for a couple of days because if you put like them together in like succession, it makes a swastika out of those little.
I saw an article today with Kamala Harris, entertaining drag queens in our Capitol. And I don't know if it's the White House or where she was.
I have met
she was
drag queens before. They're generally sweet people. I just don't want them reading stories to my little kids.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And listen, whatever, be whoever you want to be. Just don't look at. I'm not sitting there going, show me a bunch of affection for being heterosexual. I mean, I'm not asking for a heterosexual day. So, and if we're going to say, well, it's
why not?
Minority.
I think we should now. I really do.
I'm just
not
buying
kidding.
into this propaganda of.
We were there.
Yeah.
If you can't beat them, join them. So I want a heterosexual day and I want a white day.
This is,
we're definitely getting banned now.
This is the problem with all of that. Right?
Okay.
There shouldn't be because the pushback isn't about them as people. God made us all in his image. He loves everybody. We all sin.
Sinners,
we just
that's right.
different people have different things where they're weak at, right? And Paul talked about the thing that he hated the most, he did the most, and the thing he wanted to do, he couldn't do. Everybody like Winona Ryder. She's a multi-million-dollar actress. She still shoplifts at Kmart. Shoplifts.
Still, you think?
Some people have that. Some draw to one thing or the other. So the problem isn't with them as people. The problem is their position on this is what I do in my bedroom with the person that I have sex with, and this is how we do it.
Right.
Okay.
And you need to respect that, and you need to acknowledge that. And you need to be okay. Yeah. You need to be okay with that.
Let us tell your children about it. That's where they cross the line.
Yeah.
You do what, and I understand if you look at the history of the at least the gay movement before there was a bunch of letters, it is, you look at like Alan Turing, who helped win World War II by deciphering the German code machine.
That's a movie. That's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah. Well, Alan Turing was gay. And they
put him on they put him on a drug that tried to get him not gay.
Yeah, which is also what they use, puberty blocker, some of the same chemicals that they use to basically chemically castrate him. So I understand the history of it, and they need to be accepted as human beings, and they need to be able to live the life that they choose to live. I mean, it's outside of the church, and that's, so I judge.
The thing about it is, okay, we're not talking, biblically or spiritually or religiously or whatever. You're right. They have that. That's not a problem. But when what you said, when it's being promoted in a way to where it's family oriented, bring your kids to Denton Square in Denton, Texas, and we're going to be a big shindig there with gay pride and these cross dressers or transgenders or whatever you want to call them are reading stories to children. That's horrible.
Right. And that's where the pushback should be. As far as them as people, like I said, because they are outside of the will of God and they are outside of the church, they are not to be judged. That's all for now. Either one of you guys
For God.
is as brothers in Christ. If I saw you guys in drag somewhere down on Oak Lawn and Cedar Springs,
Again?
I would pull you aside as a brother in Christ and say, dude, this is not good for you, not good for your faith, not good for your family. Let's try to talk. It would be, or
I'll work on it.
If it was Bo, Terry and I would come alongside you, and if that didn't help, we'd talk to the church. That is what's prescribed in Scripture, the way that we would handle it internally in the church, right? But those that are outside, we can judge them not, lest ye be judged, right? Because that's outside
But I can be opposed. But I'm not judging them, but I can be opposed to them speaking into my children's lives. Yeah.
Opposing to any type of grooming.
Yeah. Well, I saw an article today where it was a school teacher was talking about what he had instructed his class to do. And it was like, today he said, I'm a school teacher, and today I got to instruct my kids on, how good the Marxist policy or the Marxist philosophy is, and they were really receptive to this, so we've got and somebody had posted,
the 40 million that Stalin killed.
Yeah, get your kids out of public schools right now. Yeah, I mean, we have to, because if we're going to just throw our kids in schools and expect that, number one, if we can't get our school boards to put proper protections in place for them, then we need to get them out of there. And so, homeschooling is a great. I wish I had. I really do.
Well, Andy Hopper is.
I know you did.
He is for having the right in Texas for a kid to choose where to go to school. Now, you're looking at about $17,000 a kid, and my son was homeschooled for about 3 years and then ended up going to a very small school in Perrin, Texas, which was God-loving, God-fearing, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think he graduated with about 24 kids. So those are great schools to go to. But these liberal, leftist, big city school districts are so far left, it's unbelievable what they're teaching these kids. And they have a right to do what they want to with that money. They shouldn't be forced to go to that kind of agenda. And I hope that Texas passes that law to where they can choose where they want to go.
Well, I think they can, because you can pick a private school and you can use your allotted tax dollars for your kid. Is that not
right now? No, but you should be.
That's called school choice, Terry. That's what we're fighting for.
Right. We want that to where. Let's say this. Let's say this, that you have a child that you want to have that, and they would allot you that money to go to a private school. Now, that may not cover all the private school, but it would sure help. And it would also give a lot of people opportunities to do what they want to with their kids.
Right. You guys heard me railing about Keith Bell back in whenever those elections were. He was ex-school board. He's funded by the Texas, the TEA, the Texas Educators Union. Right. So we got to fight against Republicans to get that passed in Texas, not just the liberals. And we never give plugs hardly ever on this show, but when it comes to homeschooling, you can use, there's a lot of curriculums out there that you can use. And I got to give Trixie like 1000% of of the credit for getting my son homeschooled from 8th grade through the end of high school. But Liberty University Online Academy does K through 12. The price is very reasonable, and it's faith based. He had to take a New Testament class, an Old Testament class, apologetics. So that's good. Liberty University is a great homeschool option. We went and looked at a lot of different curriculums and went to trade show fair type things that had all of that stuff that you could buy. And there's also, there are, for like athletics and band and stuff there, you can get connected with homeschoolers in your area, and they can put like a band together, or they can do different athletic things.
Do you think, Rob, that part of this deal, with the nuclear family and the demise of the nuclear family that started in the 1950s or whatever, that by doing that, by getting the both spouses to work, they've taken that ability away, and especially with this economy, who can afford to have a stay-at-home spouse, whether it be man or woman, to help facilitate that with your kid? Because I know this stuff is not just online. You've got to have a parent there to help with it. And so Trixie did a great job, and that's amazing, but not everybody can do that. So how do we get to that point?
Can I say this? I really, before you say this, I do believe people are finding ways to get it done, whether they're moving to smaller areas, downsizing, people that are taking this serious and realize that their kids are in jeopardy by going to some of these crazy places. They're making moves. And I've seen that out of a lot of people. And a dear friend of mine is just retired as a school teacher out of Fort Worth area. Of course, he couldn't wait to retire, by the way. He knows a lot of people that are making those moves to get out of those positions so they can do that.
Well, let me just say this. So you and I had our kids in the same, well, actually Graham didn't go there, but you were in the same school district. You lived in the area where my sons went to school, and it was a small school. But it's so here you are, you're in a small school, but it's still governed by the TEA, right? Texas Education Agency, right? And so they're still putting these guidelines out that are mandated for all schools. And if these schools don't follow these mandates, they don't allow, DEI or, Pride Days or whatever, they lose their funding. They lose their funding, right? And so, it's not even so much of the small schools, but as long as they're a public school that falls underneath the TEA, in Texas, that's what it is. And every other state has their own agency that governs those bodies, those schools. I mean, so a public school is corrupted from the get, no matter what.
Yes, they are.
And until we start making the changes. I talked to somebody that sits on a school board the other day, and I said, that's important. That is so important that you take the time to either run for your school board or run for city council and try to affect that change in there. But even those school boards are still answerable to the state governing agencies.
Yeah, but there are some things that these more liberal type schools are going the extra mile to do more crazier things that the smaller or, more conservative schools or school districts, maybe smaller schools, are not doing. And they're not being, I don't know. I'm here in Ponder. I didn't see any kind of Pride Day at school. I didn't see anything like that. I mean, I think there are a lot of these school districts and a lot of these, boards can kind of say, screw you, TEA, we're not doing it. And I
hope that's the case. And I wish that, that was the rule in these small schools. I want to just mention one other thing. I talked to you about this school teacher that had written that I read that email that he had written about the Marxist Society. Then he followed up with another text or whatever it was, his Facebook post or whatever it was, saying, hey, now I gave my kids some homework. I told them to go home and get their parents' tax returns and bring some money so we can redistribute this wealth. And bring what cash you can find. And I'm like, who is this guy? It's like the parents that are taking their kids to these drag shows. There's adults that are behind this, that are pushing that agenda on our kids, no matter whether it's public or, even private. You got to be able to monitor that.
Well, and that's why I'm for video in every classroom. I used to not be for that with all the nonsense that's going on. I was here's another example of how crazy schools have gotten. So I've had an issue with my eye, I have what they call it, micro degeneration in my left eye, and I'm having to take some stuff to fight off that to keep it from getting worse. So I'm sitting in the ophthalmologist office, and I'm sitting there, and a young lady walks in, and we get to talking, and I'm going like, it's just kind of crazy what they do here. They really dig into your eye and everything. And I said, I told her a little bit about why I was there, and I said, so what's up with you? She goes, well, I had a brain injury, a head injury. She said, I had a head injury. And I said, oh, really? That's too bad. Was it a car wreck or what? She said, no. A 13-year-old kid at school kicked me in the head and beat the crap out of me. And then they didn't do nothing about it. And he was back at school the next day.
And she was a teacher that was attacked.
Yes. And so it's beyond what they're protecting in, pride and gay and whatever else. It goes into this a situation where they're not doing anything to these kids because it's all about the money. And they don't care because they go like, well, that person needs a chance. But these teachers are leaving by the dozens because of their safety.
Yeah.
Do you know that the first year teachers in Texas are 60% are leaving teaching after the first year? 60%. So there's a lot going on in these public schools that I think the public schools are in trouble. They're going to 4-day weeks now. Most
I heard that too.
Both the districts are going to 4 days. And you know why?
Sanger,
because
Texas.
They ain't got enough teachers.
Sanger, Texas is going to do that. And then how are you going to do that with the younger kids? Now the parents have got to either pay for daycare for them on that Friday they have off or whatever.
Right.
And it's, I don't know. There's a lot of work there.
How much bigger of a leap is it to just homeschool?
Yeah.
Right. That's my point right there. Well, look what they did even during COVID, where they did all the schooling through video conferencing. Why can't you do that through the Liberty School like you just mentioned?
Well,
I'd rather have my
but
kid.
Liberty has the kid at home unattended though for 5 days a week. So the kid's going to have some supervision. If it's a 8-year-old kid or a 7-year-old kid, they can't just plop them in front of a monitor and expect them to do it. The parent has to be there. So now that parent that was a breadwinner for the family has got to quit their job and do this. And again, it gets back to the economy. How do we?
I'm going what's important.
Yeah.
You want your kid to grow up to be a moron, or do you want your kid to grow up being a little?
Tell me how you really feel, Bo.
Well, I'm being honest with you because that's what they're becoming. I mean, they're getting to the place where they don't even want to teach anything except all this social BS. And I'm so glad my kid's in college and he's going to a small college where they don't teach a lot of that either. So we're in trouble. These schools are in trouble. Yeah. And, they keep, putting situations on these parents where they're forcing them to want to do something and they better.
Yeah.
They better.
Well, hey guys, I want to switch gear. We got about 10 minutes left. I want to switch gears and talk. I mean, obviously we know the school board or the school systems are, in need of overhaul, just like, so many other things in this country, but there are ways you can make a difference in that. And it's, getting involved with your school board. I don't even know if they have PTAs anymore, but just do whatever you can to be involved and not just let this machine of a TEA or education agency just steamroll over your kids. But I wanted to talk about, so here's something, and y'all know my heart, for the border, and I didn't even really get a chance to even talk on J6 tonight, but we can talk about that a little bit too. But my heart for the border and about how I believe that the border is still wide open, and that's treasonous of this regime, the way that they've handled that or not handled that, I should say. But so now Biden's got a new, right in front of this election, he's got a new initiative that will give 500,000 undocumented immigrants citizenships if they're married to U.S. citizens. 500,000 right off the bat. So yeah, we've always known that if they marry a U.S. citizen, they can gain citizenship, but they're talking about just, carte blanche. There's no waiting period. You are just immediately considered an American citizen. And again, that just flies in the face of all these people that have come across and spent their time to earn their citizenship. And I've got so many people that I've met over the last years here that have done that, and they're appalled that we're actually giving our citizenship to people that are coming here illegally.
They need voters.
Yeah.
I mean, call it replacement theory, call it whatever you want. That whole move there is nothing but trying to pad the election box.
Well, let me ask you this question. How many of those will end up even voting? I mean,
or how many would end up voting Democrat, too, because if they're
they might vote. Well, okay. For example, this.
Have you seen them marching up from southern Mexico with the "Thank You, Joe" T-shirts on?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're going to go vote.
That's been given to them by Soros, though. Soros is paying for all their transportation. They're giving them
here's what
they walk by the camera. Here's what I'm getting.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're going to go cast a vote. That's my point.
I mean, don't disagree.
You could say to me, "Hey, I'm going to give you $2,000 to go vote for Biden." Sure, I'll go do it. Give me $2,000, and I don't go vote at all. I don't even sure. I go and go to WinStar and gamble it. I take care of that.
They're being indoctrinated.
Condo in Los Angeles if you vote for Joe Biden.
They're being.
That still
no matter how it plays out,
it.
they're being indoctrinated. Whether or not they vote right away, or whether they vote, if they're wearing that T-shirt, that's part of the indoctrination process. And if you look back on welfare programs and where we're giving people money, they become part of that system. They don't have, so they want that system to stay in place because that's what pays their bills. They don't have to go out and work. They don't have the the overhead, the bills that we do, and yes. So there's a deep trap that we're coming into. The more money and the more financial help that we're giving these people, offering them college, to come here and get free college. I don't know. It's just sad. Do you got a scripture for us today, Bo? Because that's probably what we need right now.
No, I had one, but I don't want to read it right now. It's not. It's along the lines of what it was along the lines a while ago when we were talking about the
hellfire and brimstone.
We're past that, so I don't want to read it. It's good, but
we know that God's got this. We know God's got this, but it's like, oh man.
Well, but we still, you still have to pray and share. When Jesus first came, he had the 12 disciples, and he sent them all over the place to share the word. He didn't just say, "I'm here, y'all don't have to do nothing but worship me." He sent them out to share the word. And so we have to do that just like that on a daily basis to our morons that keep thinking Biden's the answer, or that they hate Trump so bad. And, it's amazing to me. And Kurt Chase, my buddy on Saturday mornings, he talks about this every Saturday. He goes, you know what? He used to have this coach that he couldn't stand. He didn't like his personality. He didn't like his way he presented himself and how he talked down to the kids, the players and stuff. But guess what? They won. They were winners. They won championships. And he says, hey, don't judge the book and don't judge the outcomes of what's there in plain sight just because you don't like somebody's personality. It's ridiculous. You better protect this country and don't worry about bad tweets.
Yeah, give me cheaper gas or mean tweets. I'll take the cheaper gas every
day. World peace or mean tweets. I'll take mean tweets any day.
Yeah, got a great meme.
That's where we're at, and I really do believe that. I personally believe, and I've been around a couple of years. I do believe this election coming up is the most important election of my life.
Can y'all see that?
And maybe to America. What's that?
Is my screen sharing right now?
No, but what you just said, Bo, we heard that the last election, and now somebody told me, and I had this conversation with somebody a couple of days ago.
It's
sharing. Like when I really first started hearing people say in mass numbers that this is the most important election of my lifetime. And my first election and Terry's first election was Reagan's re-election in '84.
Yep.
That was pretty important too. But it didn't really start getting critical until about 2012. We lost that one. And it was bad that we lost that one. But what was interesting about the election of 2012 was the DNC conference, the convention, when they took votes on their party platform. I'm not going to pull a Terry and start crying because this is huge. They voted the Lord God Almighty
off their platform.
The Father of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. They voted him off, not once, not twice, but 3 times, just to make sure. They voted him off the platform. Demons escorted him to the door. He's not welcome.
Yeah.
That is when all of this ceased being left or right, Republican or Democrat.
Became
because
right
there's a uniparty that's controlled by Satan. And that was the day that this became good versus evil, God versus the darkness.
Yep.
That's why, why do I fuel up my truck and drive to Austin or to Laredo or to freaking Washington, D.C.
Spend our money to do that. That's
because
right.
we are no longer just physical beings having a spiritual experience. No, we're spiritual beings having a physical experience, and it's gone to the point to where we have to stand up because it's coming critical.
I believe that. I agree.
And I think, a lot of people say that's indicative that we're getting up close to the end times. Until I see the two witnesses in Jerusalem, I'm not going to, go too concerned about that, but we're getting close. We're definitely, if not in the end times, in the preamble.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, I just started the closeout music there a little early.
Thanks, Steve Razor, for taking us to a high note.
That was good.
But I do believe you, and you're amen to that. You're absolutely right, 100%. And I guess with that, we should probably say goodnight.
Yeah, it's been a good show, guys. I appreciate all your time. Appreciate everybody that's joined in and viewed us. Like us, share us. Keep coming back. We will just keep trying to bring the real deal truth to you guys.
Well, let me just say this. I do enjoy a lot of our shows like this, sometimes more than others, because we just get in here and talk like we're around the couch about what's going on in our country. And I think it's heartfelt when we do. Yeah, it really is.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and we appreciate all you guys viewing us tonight. And Bo, you want to take us out, and I'll put a little broken music on.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you all for joining us here on the Real Deal broadcast. We're here every Thursday evening from at 6 to 7 daylight savings time. And we will be back again next Thursday with myself, Big Wheels Bo, the Speed Racer, and Terry, the Patriot at Large Anderson. Y'all be safe. Have a great, great week. Until next Thursday, be blessed and be safe.
Love you guys. See y'all next week, man.
Hey, love you too. Peace out, y'all.
I believe in the Lord above. We should walk his walk and I'll share his love instead of marching to the beat of the devil's parade.
The great Clint Moody.
Woohoo! Yeah, Speed Racer. I played with him about 2 or 3 weeks ago in Aledo.
Really?
And we had a great time. Oh, yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was a city celebration. Purple car.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all next week, man. God bless.
All right. Take care, guys. Love y'all.